Of the 8 contestants getting ready for tonight's show, only one of them will be walking away with the prize money of up to £20,000. 7 of them will leave empty-handed, as their teammates vote them the weakest link.
Welcome to the weakest link. Any of the 8 people in the studio here tonight could win up to £20,000. They don't know each other. However, if they want the prize money, they'll have to work as a team. But 7 of them will leave with nothing, as round by round we lose the player voted the weakest link. Let's meet the team.
I'm Emma, I'm 28 and I'm a student teacher from Tyne and Wear.
I'm Cameron, I'm 24 and I'm a project manager from Essex.
I'm Tracy, I'm 37 and I'm a regional coordinator from Birmingham.
I'm David, I'm 49, I'm a credit manager from Northampton.
I'm Elizabeth, I'm 56, I live in Hextable and I walk dogs.
I'm Mark, I'm 35, I'm a taxi driver from Portsmouth.
I'm Joe, I'm 45 and I'm a freelance editor from Corgaff in Aberdeenshire.
I'm John, I'm 65 and retired and live in Moggahanger, just outside Bedford.
Now the rules. In each round the aim is to answer enough questions correctly to reach your £2,500 target within the time limit. The fastest way is to create a chain of 8 correct answers. Get your question wrong and you break the chain and lose all the money in that chain. But if you say bank before the question is asked, the money is safe. However, you start a new chain from scratch. Remember, at the end of the round, only money that has been banked can be taken forward. In round 1, there are 2.5 minutes on the clock. We'll start with the person whose name is first alphabetically. That's you, David. Let's play the weakest link. The first question is for £50. Start the clock. David, in fashion, what B is the term for a 2-piece bathing suit?
Bikini.
Correct. Elizabeth, in Greek legend, what hollow wooden animal was used to smuggle troops into Troy?
The wooden horse.
Correct. Mark, in the children's TV animation, what is the name of the postman who owns Jess, a black and white cat?
Pat.
Correct. Joe, in the animal kingdom, the jellyfish that has long tentacles armed with powerful stinging cells is called a Portuguese man of what?
War.
Correct. John, how many wheels does a unicycle have?
2.
1. Emma, stump-rooted, intermediate and long-rooted are types of which orange-coloured vegetable?
Carrot.
Correct. Cameron, which actor played the part of Dr. Hannibal Lecter in the 1991 film Silence of the Lambs?
Anthony Hopkins.
Correct. Tracy, in which board game would you find community chest and chance cards?
Monopoly.
Correct. David, complete the proverb, jack of all trades, master of what?
None.
Correct. Elizabeth, which ale is an Italian dish made from layers of pasta, minced meat and cheese sauce?
Lasagna.
Correct. Mark.
Bank.
What colour are the flowers of the buttercup?
Yellow.
Correct. Joe, the song Unchained Melody by the Righteous Brothers was played during the famous pottery-making scene in which 1990 film starring Demi Moore and Patrick Swayze?
Ghost.
Correct. John, in nature, the marsh tit and the garden warbler are both types of which animal?
Birds.
Correct. Emma, in nature, what H is the dried, powdered leaves of the Egyptian privet used to dye hair and skin?
Henna.
Correct. Cameron.
Bank.
Traditionally, a march by Mendelssohn is often played at the end of which church ceremony?
Mass.
Wedding. Tracy, in the animal kingdom, what name is given to the male mallard duck?
Pass.
Drake. David, in what part of the body would you find the tricep muscles?
In the arm.
Correct. Elizabeth, is East Midland Airport closer to Birmingham, Coventry or Leicester?
Birmingham.
Leicester. Mark, at the London Palladium, which Australian actor played Joseph in the 1991 version of the musical Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat?
Pass.
Jason Donovan. Joe, in food, which fruit is dried to make a prune?
Plum.
Correct. John, in the military, what A is the protective covering often worn during fighting?
Armour.
Correct. Emma,
Bank.
which famous ballet features the dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy?
The Nutcracker Suite.
Correct. Cameron, if you buy 5 cans of dog food and twice as many cans of cat food, how many cans have you bought?
15.
Correct. Tracy,
Bank.
in professional tennis, does Pete Sampras Time is up. I cannot complete the question, and of the £2,500 available, you won £1,700. Who already is worryingly slow? Who's standing in your way? I urge you, start as you mean to go on, heave the hopeless, root out the rubbish. One of you is about to leave with nothing. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
Emma is the first strongest link. The statistics show that John is the weakest link, as he got one of his questions wrong and lost the most money. But at this early stage of the game, will the rest of the team have picked up on this?
OK, voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
John.
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 Cameron.
Cameron.
Emma, why John?
He hesitated too long over a question and lost quite a lot of money.
Mark, how's it going for you?
Not so bad. Yourself?
Yeah. I'll ask the questions. Okay. What are your hobbies?
Films.
Anything else?
Not stage plays.
Not musicals?
No.
Never heard of Jason Donovan?
Yes, I have.
Didn't know he was in that musical?
No.
Why John?
Lost a lot of money.
John, did you go to school?
Yes.
What sort of school taught you that a unicycle had 2 wheels?
I've got no answer to that. It's the most stupid answer.
Right. You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
Playing the game tonight, I found, was a lot easier than I had anticipated. I was rather concerned whether I could keep 3 or 4 balls in the air at the same time. It wasn't too difficult. I'm just very frustrating I can't go on to the next stage because I was able to do the job, and I feel in another circumstances I could have walked it.
Round 2. You've won £1,700 so far out of a possible £2,500. 7 of you left. We are now taking 10 seconds off the clock. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. That's you, Emma. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Emma, what pastime involves jumping from bridges or other elevated structures attached to a rubber rope?
Bungee.
Correct. Cameron, which singing diva had a UK #1 hit in the 1960s called Respect?
Diana Ross.
Aretha Franklin. Tracy, in measurement, is a US gallon larger or smaller than an imperial gallon?
Smaller.
Correct. David, in modern history, the July conspiracy of 1944 involved a plot to assassinate which European leader?
Mussolini.
Hitler. Elizabeth, in which 1982 comedy did Dustin Hoffman play the role of Dorothy Michaels?
Pass.
Tootsie. Mark, in science, what bee is a concentrated solution of salt in water?
Pass.
Brian. Joe, in which country would you be if you crossed the Tropic of Capricorn on the Stewart Highway just north of Alice Springs?
Australia.
Correct. Emma, in athletics, what name is given to the sport of throwing a metal ball weighing between 8 and 16 pounds?
Shot put.
Correct. Cameron,
Bang.
in the human body, which A is a hormone secreted by the adrenal gland in times of stress or in response to a fright or shock?
Adrenaline.
Correct. Tracy, in the 1939 film The Wizard of Oz, what did the lion ask the wizard to give him?
Courage.
Correct. David, what is the name given to the X-shaped stitching which is popular in embroidery?
Cross-stitch.
Correct. Elizabeth, sumo
Thank.
is the national sport of which country?
I don't know.
Japan. Mark, name the father of Madonna's second child, Rocco.
Pass.
Guy Ritchie. Joe, in America, for what would you use a skillet, cooking or gardening?
Cooking.
Correct. Emma, which 1977 Steven Spielberg science fiction film has the tagline, "We are not alone"?
Close Encounters.
Close Encounters of the third kind. I'll accept Close Encounters. Cameron,
Bang.
in fashion, what is polyvinyl chloride more commonly known as?
Nylon.
PVC. Tracy, in language, which word refers to an irrational fear of an object or situation?
Phobia.
Correct. David, what in the human body can be ball and socket or hinge?
Joints.
Correct. Elizabeth, which female singer had a hit with the song Babushka in 1980?
Kate Bush.
Correct. Mark,
Bang.
which Australian soap appeared on British TV first, Neighbours or Home and Away?
Neighbours.
Correct. Joe, if something is translucent, can you see light through it?
Yes.
Correct. Emma, what S is a mark impressed into wax to authenticate letters and documents?
Seal.
Correct.
Bank.
Cameron.
Bank.
Time's up. You banked just in time. And in the kitty in that round, team, you put £800. Disappointing. You could have won another £2,500. Who can't you wait to get rid of? Who sticks out as thoroughly unsuitable for the task in hand? Ditch the dead wood. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
Emma is the strongest link for the second time. Mark is now the weakest link statistically, although he did bank money for the team. Will it be enough to save him when it comes to the vote?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Elizabeth.
David.
Elizabeth.
Mark.
David.
Tracy.
Elizabeth.
Tracy, how's it going?
Fine, I think. I think I answered all my questions correctly.
Why Elizabeth?
I just seem to remember she got 2 questions wrong.
You thought she was the weakest link, did you?
I think so, yeah.
She wasn't, was she, Mark? Have you any general knowledge?
Bad round then. That's my bad round over with.
Right. Well, Elizabeth, nothing fair in this game. You weren't the worst player. Mark was. But the team thought you were the worst player, which is even worse for you. You are the weakest link.
Well, I'm not surprised they voted me off because they always vote the Crumblies off first if you've ever watched the programme before. And Cruella de Vil in the middle doesn't make you feel any better. If I'd have won all that money, I would have had a smashing holiday and had a facelift, which I've always wanted because I look more like my mother every day.
Round 3 in the bank so far. You have £2,500. If you'd hit your targets, you could have had £5,000 by now. You are down to 6 players. That includes Mark, who appears to be suffering from memory loss. We're taking another 10 seconds off the clock. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Emma. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. In which sport is the speed of the ball denoted by the colour of the dot on it?
Pass.
Squash. Cameron, in children's television, what was the name of the hamster who assisted Danger Mouse?
Eric.
Penfold. Tracy, Edward Heath was leader of which political party?
Conservatives.
Correct. David, do any humans live in the Sahara Desert?
Yes.
Correct. Mark, in maths, if the length of a rectangle is 15 centimetres and the width is 5 centimetres, what's the perimeter?
65.
40 centimetres. Joe, in the animal kingdom, is a sturgeon a land or sea creature?
Sea creature.
Correct. Emma, in tennis, what L is a high shot intended to land behind an opponent who has approached the net?
Pass.
Lob. Cameron, in theatre, complete the title of this play by J.M. Synge, the playboy of the Western what?
World.
Correct. Tracy, the first British car registration A1 was issued in which century? The 19th or the 20th?
20th.
Correct. David, in British cinema, for what do the initials NFT stand?
National Film Theatre.
Correct. Mark,
Bank.
what M is a mixture of lime, cement, sand and water used for binding bricks and stone when building?
Mortar.
Correct. Joe, in art, what was the nationality of the painter Paul Cézanne?
French.
Correct. Emma, in TV, Ainsley Harriott took over from Fern Britton as the presenter of which TV cookery show?
Ready, steady, cook.
Correct. Cameron, in the
Bank.
animal kingdom, do the eyes of lions have round or slit pupils?
Round.
Correct. Tracy, in which year did Spice Girl Victoria Beckham give birth to her firstborn son, Brooklyn?
1998.
1999. David, in children's literature, the first book of which Enid Blyton series was published in 1942?
Noddy.
Famous 5. Mark, General George Custer's defeat by the Sioux Indians at Little Bighorn is more commonly known as Custer's last what?
Stand.
Correct. Joe, in politics, for which London constituency was Glenda Jackson elected MP in 1992, Hampstead and Highgate or Finchley?
Hampstead.
Hampstead and Highgate, correct. Emma, in biology, which colour blood cells are correctly known as leukocytes?
White.
Correct. Cameron,
Bank.
the American film actress Lauren Bacall married which famous actor in 1945?
Pass.
Humphrey Bogart. Tracy, Zen and Theravada are schools of belief in which religion? Time is up. And in that round, you banked a very disappointing £600. Remember, she who stumbles should not survive. He who hesitates deserves a hard time. Forget charity. You need to be ruthless to be rich. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
Jo is the strongest link, as she was the only player to answer all of her questions correctly. In a dramatic reversal of fortune, Emma is now the weakest link statistically. But will the team take her earlier success into account as they cast their votes?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Mark.
Emma.
David.
Cameron.
Cameron.
Emma.
We have a tie. Emma and Cameron, 2 votes each. Cameron, what do you do?
I'm a project manager for an internet company.
What sort of things?
Children's things.
Oh, children's things.
Yeah,
Got any qualifications?
got a degree.
Got a degree? And you work with children's things on your project on the internet, and you've never heard of the hamster, Penfold, in Dangermouth?
Yeah, I have. Just slipped my mind.
Slipped your mind. Not a place to be where things slip your mind here.
Not at all.
Why did you vote for Emma?
She got a couple of questions wrong. The squash one stuck in my mind.
Do you know anyone else who got a couple of questions wrong?
I do.
Who was that?
Me.
Mark, what did Cameron do to upset you?
Nothing to upset me. I think you got a couple of questions wrong, stuck in my mind.
Right. And why are you apologising?
Because I like him.
He banked £400. It's more than you did.
I can't vote for myself, and I wasn't the weakest link.
No, there's a surprise.
It is, isn't it?
Right. Well, when the vote is tied, the strongest link has to cast the deciding vote. Jo, you were the strongest link. Now, you can change your mind if you wish. Who would you like to get rid of? Emma or Cameron?
It's a horrible responsibility.
Just be quick about it.
Cameron.
Jo has decided she's had enough of you, Cameron. You are the weakest link. Bye.
I was really annoyed that Jo changed her mind and voted me off as the weakest link because I did bank a lot of money throughout that round, and Emma didn't and passed on a couple of questions which I think were pretty easy and could have got some more money for the team. I think Mark should be voted off next. I don't think his general knowledge is up to it, and he's a little bit cocky and he's annoying me.
Round 4. You've got in the bank £3,100 out of potential prize money of £7,500. 5 of you left. We are taking another 10 seconds off the clock. You now have only 2 minutes. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Jo. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Jo, which Essex seaside resort has the world's longest pleasure pier?
Southend.
Correct. Emma, in engineering, jib, overhead travelling and tower, all types of what?
Crane.
Correct. Tracy, in TV, which British comedian and actor played the character of Rick in The Young Ones?
Rick Mayall.
Correct. David, in commerce, what G is an association of people of the same trade formed to promote and protect their common interests?
Pass.
Guild. Mark, is the state of New Jersey in the east or west of the USA?
East.
Correct. Jo, which theatre in London on the Waterloo Road is famous for its Shakespeare productions?
Pass.
Old Vic. Emma, which American Motown artist had a UK hit in 1969 with Too Busy Thinking About My Baby?
Marvin Gaye.
Correct. Tracy, in science, is argon a gas or a solid at room temperature?
It's a solid.
Gas. David, Donald Sutherland played the character Hawkeye in which 1970 film?
Mash.
Correct. Mark, which word describes a machine designed to work in a place of a human and was derived from the Czech for forced labour?
Robot.
Correct. Jo, in geography, what S is the largest island in the Mediterranean Sea?
Sardinia.
Sicily. Emma, in the animal kingdom, is the rhinoceros native to Africa, Asia, or both?
Both.
Correct. Tracy, in literature, which author wrote the children's book George's Marvellous Medicine?
Roald Dahl.
Correct, David. In Roman mythology, Flora was the goddess of springtime and what?
Flowers.
Correct, Mark.
Bank.
In history, was the Battle of Bosworth the first or last battle in the Wars of the Roses?
Last.
Correct, Joe. What H is the surname of David, one of the leaders of the British pop art movement in the 1960s?
Hockney.
Correct, Emma. In which country was actor Russell Crowe born?
Australia.
New Zealand. Tracy. In food, which contains more vitamin C, lemon juice or lime juice?
Lemon juice.
Correct, David. In UK politics, for which party did Enoch Powell contest the leadership in 1965?
Conservatives.
Correct, Mark.
Bank.
One of which sports world championships is held at the Lakeside Country Club, Frimley Green?
Darts.
That was the correct answer. You were just in time, and in that round, you banked £500. Who should sling their hook? Who's costing you money? Who perhaps shouldn't really be here today? It's time to vote off the weakest link.
For the first time, Mark is the strongest link as he answered all of his questions correctly. Joe has gone from strongest link to weakest link. But who will lose out when it comes to the vote?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Joe.
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 David.
Emma.
David. Enid Blyton, not one of your specialist subjects then?
Well, it's too long ago to remember for me. It's a long time I stopped reading her books, I'm afraid.
Why Joe?
I think it's questions, and I think she got the most wrong in that round, I believe.
Right. Tracy, what do you do?
I'm a regional coordinator for a children's foundation.
Right, so you don't need to know any science then?
I don't actually know.
Just as well. Why Joe?
I think she got tough questions, but I do seem to remember she got two
Always
wrong.
tough if you don't know the answers. Emma, you're always so sorry to lose everybody.
Joe saved me in the last round, so I'm very sorry to vote her off.
But you're going to be horrible anyway.
Yes.
Okay. Well, she was the weakest link. Guess who was the strongest link, Mark?
Hey!
Joe, how do you think you did?
Oh, pretty badly.
Pretty badly. 3 votes, you are the weakest link.
The questions are the luck of the draw. If you know the answer, you know the answer, and if you don't, they're obviously going to be difficult. I think David will win because he's being very calm and collected, and he's thinking about his answers, and I think he's getting most of them right.
Round 5. In the bank so far is £3,600. If you'd hit your targets, it would be £10,000. 4 of you left. Another 10 seconds coming off the time. We start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Mark. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Mark, a boreal forest is mainly composed of what kind of trees? Coniferous or deciduous?
Deciduous.
Coniferous. Emma, contract and auction are 2 versions of which card game?
Pass.
Bridge. Tracy, what is the name of the piece of metal which hangs inside a bell?
The dome.
Clapper. David, which Australian city is the capital of Queensland?
Brisbane.
Correct. Mark, in science, is water a compound or an element?
Compound.
Correct. Emma, before 1930, in which country would you have found the city of Constantinople?
Sri Lanka.
Turkey. Tracy, Rosh Hashanah is the observance of New Year in which religion?
Indian.
Judaism. David, in which city in Texas is NASA's Space Center located?
Houston.
Correct. Mark, which comedian born in Slough appeared in the TV series 3 of a Kind before making her name with her own show in America?
Julie Walters.
Tracy Ullman. Emma, in transport, do cars have 2-stroke or 4-stroke engines?
4-stroke.
Correct. Tracy, which pop band made history by occupying all of the top 5 places in the US charts in April 1964?
The Jacksons.
The Beatles. David, what is the capital city of Peru?
Lima.
Correct. Mark, in money, is the bolivar the unit of currency in Brazil or Venezuela?
Venezuela.
Correct. Emma, in geography, what sea is the name given to the lines on a map joining places of equal heights?
Circumference.
Contours. Tracy, in which century was the X-ray discovered?
The 20th.
19th. David, in film, which famous comedy duo starred in Babes in Toyland and Sons of the Desert?
Laurel and Hardy.
Correct, Mark.
Thanks.
In Christianity, what P is the name given to the Christian groupings that derive from the Reformation?
Pass.
Protestant. Emma, in music, in which decade of the 20th century was the rock band Fleetwood Mac formed? Time is up. The correct answer was the 1960s. And after all that work, you scrabbled together just £150. Who has outstayed their welcome? Who has by now seriously lost the plot? One of you is about to leave with nothing. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
David is the strongest link, as he answered all of his questions correctly. The weakest link is Tracy, who answered all of hers incorrectly. But will the voting reflect reality?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Tracy.
Mark.
Emma.
Emma.
Mark, the taxi driver.
Hello.
3 questions you answered incorrectly.
Bad round for all of us, I think, Anne.
Why Emma?
Couldn't vote for myself.
You thought she was the weakest link, did you?
Yeah.
She wasn't, was she, Tracy?
I could not have been more appalling.
No, but they didn't notice, did they?
I don't think they did. No. I can only get better.
Emma, how do you think you did?
Pretty badly.
Yeah, not as bad as Tracy. But the apology's wasted this time because she's staying and you're going. You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
I'm surprised they didn't notice that Tracy didn't get anything. But I'm glad I was the strongest link twice, so I'm very pleased about that. I think the next person to be voted off might be Tracy. Because I think it's knocked her confidence now that she knew she was the weakest link in that last round, and I think that'll have knocked her confidence.
Round 6 in the bank is £3,750 out of the £12,500 you could have won. 3 of you left. You've got rid of anyone whose name begins with E or K or J. Another 10 seconds coming off the clock. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. That's David. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. David, what B is a capital city on the River Danube known as the White Fortress?
Budapest.
Belgrade. Mark, which famous ballet company was founded in Moscow in 1776?
Kirov.
Bolshoi. Tracy, which character in the American TV series Buffy the Vampire Slayer is a werewolf, Oz or Xander?
Xander.
Oz. David, what nationality was the 20th century composer Aaron Copland?
American.
Correct. Mark, in which 1746 battle was Bonnie Prince Charlie defeated, Culloden or Boyne?
Culloden.
Correct. Tracy, in technology, what P is a single dot on a computer screen?
Pixel.
Correct. David, in TV, Max, Bella, Fizz, Jake, Milo and Judy are all members of which popular children's programme?
Pass.
The Tweenies. Mark, in world geography, what country lies between Colombia and Peru on the west coast of South America?
Pass.
Ecuador. Tracy, in World War II, in which year was Paris liberated, 1944 and 1945?
44.
Correct. David, in UK geography, what Y is a town in Somerset known for its 400-year-old glove-making industry?
Yeovil.
Correct. Mark, who was the lead singer of the Irish group The Pogues?
Pass.
Shane McGowan. Tracy, in TV, which presenter known for his snappy suits hosted the programmes The Last Resort and Saturday Zoo?
Jonathan Ross.
Correct. David, in jazz, is Keith Jarrett a pianist or a saxophonist?
Pianist.
Correct. Mark, in Christianity, what S is the name traditionally given to the highest order of angels in the celestial hierarchy?
Pass.
Seraphim. Tracy, in which UK county is the town of Burton-upon-Trent?
Staffordshire.
Correct. David, in human biology, encephalitis is the inflammation of which organ in the body?
Kidneys.
The brain. Time is up. You banked £400. Now, let me explain to you that in round 7, you get the chance to double what you bank, and that means in the next round, potentially, there's £5,000 to be won. But the minutes are ticking away. This is no time for charity. Who has blown their chance? Who cannot be trusted to raise the bank balance? who is too stupid to stay. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
Tracy was the previous round's weakest link, but now she's the strongest player, as she answered only one question incorrectly. The weakest link is Mark, but who will the players decide to vote off at this crucial stage of the game?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Mark.
Mark.
David.
Tracy, you came back to join us in that round, did you?
Absolutely. I said it could only get better.
Why Mark?
I think he did as badly as I did in the last round.
David, did you want to get rid of the other man?
Well, I think he missed one fare too many on that one.
Mark Taxi, you've got
That's
there.
it, that's the man, just in case there was any
Mark
doubt.
the Taxi.
Absolutely, yeah.
Mark the Taxi. Do you drive any better than you can answer general knowledge questions?
I had a pants round. Deserved to go on that round.
I mean, you're quite impressive, aren't you? Musical, science, pop culture, maths, nature, TV, religion, geography, music are just some of the things you know absolutely nothing about.
Didn't ask no woodwork questions.
Statistically, you were the worst player. And with 2 votes, and reminding you that overall you've been the worst player, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
My overall performance today could have been better. Had some rotten questions, stinking questions, but I think the fair result was there in the end. I didn't look like winning. Got down to the last 3, thought I got chances. After 2 or 3 questions, I didn't get them right. Writing was on the wall.
Round 7. You've won £4,150 so far. By now you could have won £15,000. Tracy and David, only 2 of you left, not even the Portsmouth taxi driver to confuse you, and you have 90 seconds. But whatever you win in this round will be doubled and added to your total to make up your final prize money. So £5,000 is at stake in this round. We start with the strongest link from the last round, that's Tracy. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Tracy, is SAS an airline of Spain or Scandinavia?
Scandinavia.
Correct. David, where on a horse's body can the frog be found?
On its neck.
On the base of the hoof. Tracy, in maths, what size are each of the internal angles of an equilateral triangle?
45 degrees.
60 degrees. David, in TV, who presented Opportunity Knocked in the 1960s?
Huey Green.
Correct. Tracy, in
Bank.
literature, by what pen name is Charles Ludwig Dodson better known?
Pass.
Lewis Carroll. David, which Scottish city has 3 cathedrals called St Macca's, St Mary's and St Andrews?
Glasgow.
Aberdeen. Tracy, in 1911, Irving Berlin had his first hit with a song about whose ragtime band?
Pass.
Alexander's. David, do the nomadic Maasai people live in East or West Africa?
East.
Correct. Tracy, in
Bank.
pop music, in Ken Dodd's first UK hit, he sang about love being like which musical stringed instrument?
If it's like a violin.
Correct. David, in
Bank.
modern history, the name of the oil tanker which struck a reef off the coast of Alaska in March 1989 was the Exxon what?
Valdez.
Correct. Tracy,
Bank.
which actress played the character Alex Mundy in the film Charlie's Angel and also stars in the TV series Ally McBeal?
Callista Flockhart.
Lucy Liu. David, in which religion is the place of worship referred to as the Gurdwara?
Hindu.
Sikhism. Tracy, which diminutive Canadian actor provided the voice for the mouse hero in the film Stuart Little?
Michael J. Fox.
Correct. David, in the
Bank.
animal kingdom, the goldfish is native to which country? Time is up. I cannot complete the question, and you didn't make it to £2,500. You won just 250. Never mind, we'll double that and add it to the winnings from the previous rounds. That means total prize money this evening of £4,650. But only one of you can take that money away. So now you will be playing against each other head to head. I'll ask alternate questions, best of 5. Whoever answers the most correctly wins. It's as simple as that. If there's a tie after 5, we'll go for sudden death until we have a winner. So, Tracy and David, for £4,650, let's play the weakest link. David, as the strongest link in the last round, you have the choice of who goes first.
I'd like to let Tracy go first, please.
Tracy, in the children's TV programme Bagpuss, what was the name of the girl who brought new items to the shop?
Wendy.
The correct answer is Emily. David, what English medical journal was established by Dr. Thomas Whately in 1823?
Lancet.
That is the correct answer. Tracy, in a standard pack of cards, which is the only king not to have a moustache?
The diamond.
Correct answer is the King of Hearts. David, which playwright and comedian is married to the magician Geoffrey Durham, otherwise known as the Great Soprendo?
Victoria Wood.
That is the correct answer. Tracy, in the animal kingdom, the Kia is a parrot found only in which country?
Australia.
The correct answer is New Zealand. David, if you answer this question correctly, you have won. So, for £4,650. In pop music, Jimi Hendrix had a UK hit in 1968 with All Along the Watchtower, but who wrote and recorded it originally?
Otis Redding.
The correct answer is Bob Dylan. Tracy, you need to answer this question correctly to remain in the game. In geography, in which ocean are the Faroe Islands?
The Atlantic.
That is the correct answer. David, again, if you answer this question correctly, you have won. So again, for £4,650. What was the first name of the artist L.S. Lowry?
Leonard.
The correct answer is Lawrence. Tracy, in literature, which surname connects the creators of the characters Sherlock Holmes and Paddy Clark?
Doyle.
That is the correct answer. David, you need to answer this question correctly to win. In chemistry, what is the first element in the periodic table?
Hydrogen.
That is the correct answer. That means, David, you are today's strongest link and you go away with £4,650. Tracy, you leave with nothing. Coming up next on BBC One, Nick Berry and Stephen Tompkinson in the new crime double In Deep. Join us again for The Weakest Link. Goodbye.
I never, ever expected to get this far. My husband said he would divorce me if I was out first, so I'm just utterly relieved that I got to the final.
I'm everything you could possibly think of. Amazed, delighted, stunned.
Had I had the other set of questions, I still don't think I would have won. I think he was the best man for the day and he deserved to win.
I think I'm dreaming. It's just really great and I'm really pleased.